Welcome once again as we continue with this conversation with Rev Allan. We've been talking about addiction. Happy new month, the month of July, and we thank God for the grace and the gift of life. So I just want to take this opportunity to welcome the host of the show, Rev Allan, just to put a word. Karibu.
Asante sana. I want to welcome all of us into this program. Our intentions as we deal with addiction is to appreciate the challenges that are facing all of us by day. And I know that there are those that are very loud with their challenges of addictions. There are those that are hiding, but I know that addiction is a real issue in our society. Therefore, I want you to journey with us, and that's why today I would really love us to go even deeper as we are dealing with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rev Allan has given us issues to do with addiction, and today our focus is on drug addiction. I just want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of Janet Surum Kiplagat, our counselor psychologist from University of Kabianga. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Karibu, Janet. Then there is a guest. We have a special guest today, Mr. William Rotich, of whom I'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself very well. Welcome, Mr. William Rotich.
Thank you. So, good morning. I'm William Rotich, counseling psychology. Counselor in counseling psychology, and specialize in clinical addiction, treatment, option rehabilitation. Yeah, I'm a father of two, married, and I'm a Christian. I love Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And I hail from this Kericho County, and I'm here to help us share together about addiction, drug addiction, to its effects, and and interventions going forward. I'm also Ambassador of NACADA, in charge of public education, public awareness, and specifically I do consultancy service, real life consultant, and I get cases on outpatient program, and other cases I do refer to inpatient programs. Whatever we share with institutions, we are able to help them refer cases to us so that we do placement. So far, so good. I do outreach programs to schools, both primary and secondary institutions. We have also churches, which is actually, the main, the key, entry point to community.
Yes.
Because as we say, the church is the community, and the community is the church. So that is what we do. And as NACADA programs, we partner with the institutions in the community-based organizations, and the like, and even the county government, because this is an area where the county governments have this program developed, so that they create awareness, sensitize the community, and bring on board other players to share in this very noble, sensitive issue on mental cases.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. William Rotich, Ambassador NACADA Psychology on Addictions, Counseling and Treatment. So we just want to have this opportunity to interact with our guest, who is so much knowledgeable and also has gone through this process of issues to do with drug and substance abuse. And I want us to begin this show by discussing what do we mean when we speak about drug and substance addiction. Over to you, Rev Allan. What does it come? When we mention drug and substance abuse, what is it that comes into our mind?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm also happy to to have Mr. William around.
Thank you.
I know he comes as an expert.
Mm-hmm.
I think also as a survivor.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a survivor of addictions, which gives us more advantage today. And when we speak about drug and substance addiction, I would want to give it a very layman understanding as one being hooked to a certain substance like alcohol, like a certain drug, like bang, like cocaine. Someone is hooked to that substance, alcoholic, a drunkenness of some kind. To be hooked meaning that he does not have the power to come out of it. Even if he wants to come out of it, he does not have he has lost his power to that substance. The substance is the one that controls the person.
Janet, just before I engage Mr. William Rotich, from your counseling point of view, when the word drug and substance addiction is mentioned, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are when a person has uncontrollable use of drugs, and these drugs could also be prescribed, you get to know about a drug, how it helps you, and then even when it's not prescribed for you, you continue using, together with alcohol and other substances. Yes.
So uncontrolled use, hooked, those are some of the words that we are getting. Yes, Mr. William Rotich, what is your thoughts on drug and substance addiction?
We are talking of drug addiction. We are saying addiction is a relapsing, recurring disease. It is a disease per se now, because as we have heard from my panelists, someone is hooked. And we say in counseling addiction, it is both physical and psychological. Physical in the sense that, the body is craving, and it comes with a compulsive force into, the person, forcing the person to, move from his point A to B to get that kind of drug. If it is a cigarette, alcohol, bang, and so forth. And it is also psychological in the sense that, one get obsessed thinking, in the thinking, the thought pattern, this person is obsessed to the point that, he has no other thought,
other than
he's thinking of because of the compulsive force. Now he's thinking, how do I get this? How do I, get a drink? And that is actually addiction. And it doesn't matter if someone even is injured on crutches. It doesn't matter. This person will, get to see that he has that drug on board, so that life may continue, because it is a condition where one is not functional, and when he gets the drug, he gets back to functionality. So it is an impairment. It's a whole disorientation of life, and it affects the brain, the body, and the soul. And when we are talking of also addiction, you will see also the other aspect, the social aspect, the emotional aspect, the economic aspect, the intellectual aspect. So this person is unmanageable. He may not be able to manage life per se.
Thank you for those wonderful contributions. When we talk about the psychology, and the physical aspect of drug addiction and the examples Mr. William Rotich has just mentioned, we just want to continue with the Reverend Allan and Janet as you give us a general view of what are some of the causes of drug and substance addiction. What is the main cause that pushes us now? What are some of the causes? Then I just want later on Mr. Rotich to share with us his cause. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question, and also thank you for that explanation. They say until you are in it, that's the time that you know it better. Now, some of the causes I would I would want to say is why people go into addiction. Why people go into addiction could be a different as why do people start taking substance that would lead them to addiction. I would say people go into addiction after they keep on using the substance every time, repeatedly. It becomes a habit. That's how they go into addiction. I would say to some people, maybe because of a certain pain that they have been experiencing, and this substance is what takes away this pain. So they keep on taking the substance to manage pain, and in the process they get hooked up. But generally, I would say peer pressure, number one. When you have friendship that do the same thing and you keep on doing with them. Secondly, I would say frustrations in life. When people are frustrated and they don't know where to run to, they cannot face themselves, they cannot face the situation. Sometimes they decide to go to sedate them, to cheat them, that let me go through this problem in this manner. Another thing I would say apart from frustration, nurture, environmental effects as someone is growing. Those who have grown in that environment where people are smoking bang, there's a possibility they may end up in the same. Where alcohol is being brewed, there's a possibility. Some people who were raised up with parents that were taking alcohol, so it becomes like a normal thing at home, yet it's a substance, it's a chemical thing that affects the brain. So I would actually mention the three, and third, because I'm a pastor, I would say the devil. Yes.
Okay. Janet, let me reserve my comments. Janet.
It's true, the devil is also involved.
Yes.
And I would also add, now you know we have an expert here.
Yeah.
So let me just add and say that sometimes it's because of underlying issues, unresolved conflicts. Could be in childhood, the way a person grew up, all the way just from 0 years, you know, from the time a child is in their mother's womb. The teratogens that they are exposed to may influence whether they will be drug addicts or things like that. Like Pastor said, they nurture now the environment in which the child grows up in. You see, let me give an example of this. If we have an issue where the parents are always in conflict, marital conflict, and the child is an unconscious witness of what is going on. You see, any energy that goes into us must come out. It must come out, and it can come out in negative or positive ways. So the issues that children go through when they are young, including favoritism. I've handled cases where students who have grown up in families where they were regarded as low by some of the parents turn out to become drug addicts. I'd also say as people grow up, it is because of internal frustrations. People don't know how to handle the internal frustrations. The world has become crazy, so many things going on. And even you see with the rise of issues now, with the rise of taxes and things like that, I can assure you that many people will be prone to drug addiction. And also, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Rotich, now that you are in, then you're out. Tell us what are the cause or the causes. Now that you're in and now you're out. Tell us what are some of things that it could be one, it could be many. Please share with us your story.
Thank you. This is very interesting because as a recovering alcoholic, I don't know how, because I just found myself. But I think in the first case, peer pressure, this kind of social, setup, at home, back at home, there was this, traditional cultural, celebrations, they call it what in Kipsik is tumin. Yeah, those cultural, activities, for circumcision and all that, and the families could brew, busa, and all that. So we were given
a local brew.
a test. Let's you share with used to share
Together.
together.
The first time I tasted alcohol
yes.
was in Tumin.
Yeah. And it is a social. It was as a social, of course, as it's a social event. Everyone is allowed to get involved, whether you are young or old. So, bound. So I got into that. Alcohol and even smoking. Cigarettes and all that. So it becomes a build up. Into a habit every December, end of year, celebration. We used to move from house to house, and that is how I got to test and and have that test and being able also to plan for that that
longing
drink
for
at the end
December.
of the year, because it was soothing, it was it was nice, yeah, and people will tell you it is good. It's good when you have 1, 2, 3, yeah. But
We call it one for the road.
yeah, one for the road.
Yes.
But it is a nightmare, having suffered for 23 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and it all started with peer pressure, and it's to do about also curiosity. Trying to discover what goes into this dynamics of stuff. So peer pressure, and you are being introduced by older guys, because they are able to access and they are allowed to do this kind of drugs. So it went on, and most of the times, you are surrounded by this group, and if you want to belong to this group, you need to you need to be like them. You need to have also a drink.
Fit in.
Yeah, you need to support this charmer, to be able to get, given that title also that where unafaa sasa umehitimu. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us more. What was your routine like?
Yeah, basically, this was early years. Now, I'm talking of early, years in my life. Primary school.
How old?
Yeah, it's like standard 5. Standard 5. I can't recall how many years. Around 13. Around 12. Around 12 thereabout. So basically, that is how we started. And and there is also the issue. The medics will tell you when alcohol or any drug is introduced to a young brain growing, because we are told the brain matures at 25 years, but now this is a young brain growing, so it really captures and it impairs and it focuses. It has some focusing effect. So I was focused without knowing that this thing will come into a problem. So basically, this drug became a routine. Even when we are in school, we used to smoke Kraiko, ile tobacco ya we start now looking for that, ile ya kuroll na gazeti. You see, roll na gazeti, tunaenda lunch hour, tunapata break ya to do that.
At what class now?
This is standard 6. Yeah, standard 6. Yeah, and it went on after now my KCP 844. I joined high school 1986, and it became now because you are meeting now guys from different places, and this is where even I was introduced a bank. Yeah, but you're saying wacha sigara bwana, hii ndio inafanya. And being in a football club, that is where it really gave a lot of emphasis, because now wesi cheza boli bwana kama haujajipatia energizer, so it was an energizer. It was not a drug. Little did I know that this thing will become a problem. And it went on, and smoking and the brain, drinking and the brain, and it affected my
Performance.
learning, my performance. It affected
Even
so
your
much.
discipline.
Oh yeah, even this.
Were you
issues.
suspended?
I think twice or once because of Kuruka fence. Yeah.
Looking for the
Yeah. Sometimes we are out on the weekend and we are boarders and we get in the village and it goes overboard and you come in school sneaking in and you are caught up and you deny, you say I was in school, you found me, cheat and lie, and you back it on it and say hakuna kitu utanifanyia, mimi nilikuwa shule. So it affected so much education, behavior, faith also. It affected my faith. So talking of 4 years in high school, it really affected so much. So now you are out. You're out in the world, Now you didn't perform well. You're not joining university, but I was able to join a college to do mechanical agricultural engineering. And I think even that course did not go well with me, because I really found now monsters of drugs in college. That is the year 91, 1991. And I was not able even to settle. I was in that course for 6 months and I left it. Then I came out and I did my things, following, plowing with the truck, using tractors, following these machineries, and life became worse. Like in the year 1994, I was really, totally disoriented in my life. I had lost literally even my health. My health has deteriorated. I had lost reputation. I had lost, that, social status even in my life, because now I was doing day in, day out, and we were even translating. So talk of 7 years down the line, I didn't see the light of the day. I didn't see when the sun was rising and setting, because I was in drugs. So 1994, I was able to sit myself and ask myself, where am I headed to? My life, has no meaning. And I was able to contemplate alone for 2 weeks, and I quit. I really stopped for 7 years down the line. But come the year 2001, I relapsed when I was doing my counseling psychology now. The year 2009. In those 2 years, I was able now, like, I used to drink. Let me test. And then I used to taskers and listeners and all that.
And Pills has this
so refreshing because now it's high class.
And Pills has this advert.
You see. And now being, a professional, and I'm, surrounded by counselors, psychologists, I'm at that level. So I could, I could do, I reminded myself, I used to drink. Can I now, pick a task or so? But 7 years down the line, I was drinking changa in Majengo. Yeah, Majengo in Kericho. I was drinking changa, Bhang and all this. So
from the bottle.
Yeah, and in fact it was worse. 2007, 2008, after the election, 2007, 2008, I had, broken walls. My relationship, family life, was, chaotic. Even it went into separation for 1 year, and so you see, and I was dying even, but I didn't die. And literally I was even drinking to die, because I had lost everything. I had sold even my household. I had sold my
shoes,
everything. I had no shoes, in fact. Yeah, I had no shoes. I had torn shoes. So I could not even come to this town, like an honored son of of someone, you know, you know, and I had lost it literally. So nilikuwa nimejawa na upweke, loneliness, and I was suicidal now. Those are the years 2007, 2008. I was suicidal. I was literally drinking to die, but it happened. I didn't die.
What were you drinking?
I was drinking, you know, changa. I was drinking wines and spirits. These spirits,
cheap
ones. Yeah, those are the drinks. Mitini dawa and even smoking bang. You see, and that was the circle, and it was day in day out. But it happened that you know, by the grace of God, the grace of God. Yeah, the year 2008 December, I made up my mind, because I was saying now, you know, since this drugs is really destroying my life, I wanted to die. I'm not dying. So what? I said, the little faith I had in God, I just asked God to show me the way, and I asked my, you know, bigger brother to help me out of this. And the year 2009 January, I decided to you know, to undertake a rehabilitation program in Asumbi, Oma Bay. And for 3 months down the line, yeah, I'm up and running, and this is my 13th year in recovery.
Thank you.
Sober and functional.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rotich, for sharing with us your story, which is very touching, and we can relate. We can relate with that story. I know every household has this issue, and every community suffers. So it is not something to be afraid or ashamed of. Thank you for being open to us. And maybe some of the things that I want to bring Reverend Allan and Janet on board is to help us understand what are some of the signs from outside that you can tell this person is into drug and substance addiction. I know Mr. William's story is very touching, and thank you for opening up and talking to us. And I just want to bring Janet and Reverend Allan so that they breathe in and out and tell us what are some of the things they can capture from the outside. What are some of the signs you can see that this person is addicted to drug and substance? Then I will come back to Mr. Rotich. Yes.
Oh. It's tough, eh? You make me to remember many people that are suffering now. Many that are hooked up in addictions, and I kind of feel for them. And I would actually say some of the signs that someone is in addiction, drug and substance addiction. I think I would say the common ones. When someone cannot keep away from the substance. Whatever the case, you tell them not to do, you beat them up, you lock them up, they will still run to it. Number two, I would say, when you see them coming to a level even of cheating or even stealing things, you know, sometimes we have these people around us. Sometimes you give them money for a certain work, they go and take the substance. The consequences they will face later. So when they cannot keep away from it. They can steal money when they can lie to you so that they get it. I would also say one is hooked. Some of the signs that I know this is an alcoholic is some even go to an extent of working for people. I've seen others carrying water so that they can just drink. I can say also that would tell me this one is no longer a social drinker. This one is an addict. He just has to be there. Again, I would say when someone will not care about what others feel, provided they drink and they come back. So it's I think that's what would help me to understand that this person is an addiction. It's not a normal drinking.
Thank you. Janet, what are some of the causes you can pinpoint?
I would say most of the people who find themselves in this kind of addiction, first you will notice there is some neglect. As they go deeper into drugs, they neglect themselves. You find a person who used to dress so well, so apt, someone who used to take care of themselves, all of a sudden and I think this message is even to parents, yeah, to see the kind of behavioral changes in their children. So you find unkempt, the person becomes unkempt, they become shabby, they don't care about, if it is a student, they no longer care about school. If it's someone who's a family person, there's what we say, problems at work, problems in school, problems in the family, and problems with money. Money issues start arising. You hear that this person has some debt. This person starts selling things. They no longer have, even these very young students, they no longer have even what we usually call the box. They no longer have that. They are just walking. They can no longer do very basic things like washing their clothes. So they go on stealing, wearing what they have stolen. When it's dirty, they remove, and things like that. And when it gets worse, now you see there's some withdrawal, isolation. When you see someone has started isolating themselves from the company they used to keep, a good company that is, and even maybe from family, from friends, from church, etc., then this person could be slowly going into some sort of addiction. And I'd also say that people who are becoming addicts have what we call hallucination. At some point now, you see the emotional symptoms, the behavioral symptoms of like things like hallucination. They get out of touch with reality. They no longer have a sense of purpose. And with this comes delusion. They no longer believe in the hope of the future, or they are too hopeful that I can even become the president of this country, or they do not have hope at all. And they have these feelings of self-hate, and they believe that everyone or most of the people hate them and they cannot understand them. Yeah, so those are signs of some of the symptoms that we can see in people who are slowly getting into addiction.
Wow, thank you so very much, Janet and Reverend Allan. We've heard the story from the horse's mouth. We just take a short break as we follow this conversation with Reverend Allan. Drug and substance addiction it is. We will be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with conversation with Reverend Allan, drug and substance. We have a special guest, Mr. William Rotich, Ambassador NACADA, and also a counselor psychologist on addiction and treatment. Welcome to our show, sir. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for getting time to be with us. I just want to begin with you again to share more on now that you've spoken before, and I want you to continue sharing with us some of the issues that you went through to sustain the lifestyle of drug and substance abuse. What are these things that you did? You spoke of going through the fence. You spoke of doing those. So please share with us, how did you sustain this life and help us understand more?
Yeah, thank you. And before coming to that, I want to add on the signs. The obvious one is staggering. You know, you will see someone staggering. Yeah. And if this addict or an alcoholic is closer to you, you will smell. There's an odor, you know. Yeah, pungent smell. It is, you know, because of the, you know, sweats and all this, and, you know, they are not able to freshen up, and even the kind of clothes, you know, they don't change. So you really can smell that this is an addict. The other one also is, you know, they begging, you know, and of course it will go into how I sustain my addiction. So you literally, they would ask you, give me pasta, saidia kabisa mbao, and then they will say 10 of us, you know, they beg, and you know, and they do that. So in my case, and it is universal, whether, you know, this alcoholic is a CEO, a professor, a PhD, you know, this casual laborer, you know, ule mtu wa boda boda, ule mtu wa, you know, inaitwa nini, anasukuma mkokoteni. We are all the same. As active addicts, we are on the same level. So what really, you know, sustained my addiction, because you really you know, you go into, you know, very kind of simple life, so to speak, by, you know, lying. Number one is lying. You lie, you manipulate, you know, you cause some scenarios so that, you know, you are given, maybe you are funded by your wife, or, you know, someone who knows you. You know, you lie like, you know, mtoto yangu, you know, ni mgonjwa. And even you don't know, the child woke up this morning and he's in school, healthy, sound, and, you know, kicking. And someone is lying, give me 1,000, and lipa school fees. The other thing is, you know, they wanasema ng'ombe yangu ni mgonjwa bana, nataka kununua dawa, I want to buy, you know, this kind of medicine for my cow. But this cheating and lying, you know, to sustain, and manipulating, you know, giving some false information so that, you know, someone pities, you know, pities you. And then, you know, I would say also self-pity, you know, is one of it, because someone who has that condition will be able to you know, negotiate, you know, to someone who, even one you have never met in life, but you are able to negotiate until this person will pity you, you know, in one way or the other. So these are the ways of doing it. Then lying, you know, stealing. Yeah, I used to steal.
What did you steal?
I stole my own closet. I stole money from, you know,
yourself.
Yes. I stole even money from my wife's purse, you know. Yeah, it is given. It is given, you know, and it is happening. It is not something, you know, it is coming out today. It is alive.
Tell us how you stole from your past, the past of your wife.
Basically, you know, I was waiting for this, you know, partner of mine, and the bathroom. So na pengine nilikuwa sitting room nasoma gazeti. I'm a very good man, but timing this person to, you know, give way, and
either to go to the kitchen,
yes,
or to the shamba.
Then you get into the past, and you know when they realize later that my money is gone, is nowhere, they will come back and say, ulichukua ile pesa. You know, you become angry and you fight this you know, this lady as for nothing. Sema wewe unasema mimi ni mwizi. Yeah, and hiyo vitu zingine zinafuata, fighting. Yes. You know, and trying to, you know, show that how do you put me in that level? Yeah, but really
you're in that level.
Stealing is there, you know. And then, you know, my colleague had talked about the debts, you know, borrowing. You borrow until, you know, borrowing becomes a facility itself, you know, to facilitate even, you know, kwenda deni kuomba beer, you know, pombe, you know, kwadeni, you know, you would go to those level, and life went on, but it has never given satisfaction at all, because you know, there's still, you know, these aspects of an alcoholic, you know, the life of an alcoholic, you know, there's a way we mask ourselves, you know, so that, you know, you are not seeing the real me, and you will pity me, and you can serve me what I want at the end of the day. Yes.
So you have this face whereby people, when they look at you, they have compassion towards you.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Manipulation.
Yeah. Manipulation. Yeah. Because you know, at the heart of the alcoholic, you know, he really is living a life which even himself or herself would not like to live that life, you know, because it's a tormenting kind of life. So they are just putting face, you know, just for the sake of, because, you know, the craving and the obsession, you know,
you feel like you're a slave.
Yeah, it's a life
of slavery.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yes,
maybe
Reverend.
You've said the life of an alcoholic himself. Maybe just in a few seconds, how does an alcoholic feel personally?
Oh my goodness, my God. An alcoholic feels like, you know, separated from the real life, you know. I don't know how to explain this, because, you know, any alcoholic in a life to addiction feel a lot of, you know, loneliness, you know, is lonely, is bitter, you know, is someone disoriented, I would say, you know. You feel disoriented, you know, you feel out of place, you know, but it's like, you know, this addiction helps camouflage, you know, and those kind of, you know, issues, the pain, you know, they have, you know, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in their life.
And also guilt. I think the issue of isolation and loneliness becomes because the character you exhibit, people begin to disown you, people begin to reject you, people begin to abandon you, people stigma, and also you've done a lot of things that are not wanting. Maybe if you're a son, you've taken some property, or you've stolen something, so they tell you, we don't want to see you here again. So you're rejected, you're abandoned.
Yes.
So in that process, the feelings that you're processing are the ones that you're speaking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is a situation of hurting situation. Torments, you know, it's a hurting, you know, kind of life, you know. No one would like to live in such kind of life, because this is why when they come for counseling and they are given an opportunity to share, you know, without any judgment, they pour all those pains and, you know, all those painful deposits they have in their life, and, you know, they recover.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us your life. I just want us to continue discussing. It's this is a real life story, and we always see, and I said at the beginning or in the conversation, that we always have these people around us, be it in our homes, be it in our workplaces, be it in the church, and people are hurting. The humanity is hurting. And I just want you to discuss with us, together with Rev Allan and Janet. You will tell us the other side of the story, some of the effects you caused. Now, to the people who are not alcoholic, the people who are not taking, maybe your wife, your children, maybe part of your family members, and maybe Pastor Allan and Janet will help us understand some of the effects of drug and substance abuse, as Mr. Rotich will tell us his own, and now the effects towards others.
Thank you.
Yes.
You see, today I'm a student also, and I thank God. Sometimes we concentrate so much on what the alcoholics have done to others, and we forget what is happening with them.
Yeah.
Thank you for that enlightenment. I would say some of the effects that they do. One is they destroy social structures, like family. For those of marriage, like he said, he's separated with the wife for some time. some they destroy their parents, their home, social structures. So there's no longer trust. People keep on fighting. Have you ever seen you go home for Christmas and one of your brother or your sister who's alcoholic decides to rise up and the entire celebration is broken? So one of them is to destroy the social structure, the family structure, broken family and all those things. I would also say another effect is it causes apart from the person suffering low self-esteem, they also cause it to the other family members. One day I was walking in the street with somebody and I saw the brother of that somebody drunk in the street in front of a supermarket. And the person did not want to say, this is my brother. The person wanted to pretend that that was not the brother. Why? Because the esteem, it is shameful. You cause shame to others, and sometimes you can even make them to be even more shameful than yourself. I would also say financial problem. It causes a lot of financial problem because, for one, you cannot you become financially unable as an addict. Another thing, you eat on the finances of the family or other people around you. Sometimes even you can lose job. Sometimes you can lose your business as a result of that. That's another effect.
Mhm.
Another thing is you cause people around you to live in fear. To live in fear. Sometimes you hear that so and so did not come home. We don't know where they are. Sometimes they have been beaten up. You don't know whether they are still alive or not. Sometimes somebody has been swept by the river. You don't know whether they are among them. Your people keep on living in fear and anxiety. You cause anxiety to everybody. And if the family is not careful, you will become the business of the family. You will become the occupation of everybody. It's just about you, about you, about you. And another last thing that I would say, you also destroy destinies of those who depend on you. If you are a father or a mother, you destroy the destinies of your children and even of your spouse.
Thank you. Janet?
Yeah, that is well put, Pastor.
Mhm.
I would add and say, on the other side now, it leads to mental health issues. Leads to issues like schizophrenia. It leads to depression.
Mhm.
And eventually, when people don't understand that this is a disease, it leads to suicide.
Mhm.
So I think people need also to understand that it's a disease
Mhm.
that needs to be treated like any other disease.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Rotich, tell us the effects internally and externally. Mhm.
Yeah. Addiction, has adverse effects to human life, and especially in my case, loss of memory. I lost my memory. I could not comprehend issues, to do with life. That loss of memory also, the cells, the damaged cells, in the brain and in the body, and it really affects someone, remember, where you were yesterday, what happened, what you caused, even the money you had, you cannot account, for such a form of money. Memory loss of appetite, you lose appetite, anorexia, you suffer, from that. Insomnia, I had sleepless, nights and even days, these are issues, which, affecting the brain. Even the health, it affected my health, it affected my health per se, in one way or the other, because I could not, have a program for food and all that. It affected my relationship, affected my relationship per se. And, even the children, the young child, was still very young, our firstborn, could not see, what kind of relationship he lived in fear. When my wife, when we got back, after my rehabilitation, 2009, we were able to get back and we are, living a good life. But my child then, was not able to to get love from me. It affected my relationship with the child and with my wife. It affected my financial implication. I was not able to manage my finances, and one of it is that it is a retrogressive kind of life. I'm not able to develop. Then people have done ABCD to do with development, but investment and all that. But I really drawn my investment. So there's this kind of life, which a retrogressive kind of development in my life then. But all this was not because I was aware. This is a situation where you are not aware, not aware it is happening. So the whole life is mismanaged because of the disease. Yeah, and it affected also my education and all that. But thereafter, I don't know if you'll ask me to say the benefits now, but those are the effects. Even it affected my employment. My employment, it affected. Yeah, it's at some point I was not able to to take up to be up to the task. Being in charge of people's issues. Sometimes I would even borrow the class na ambia huko na kitu baada ya session toa kitu bana. So it affected a breach of kind of therapy. Yeah, and at some point also it affected my confidentiality.
You were canceling the sick.
Of course,
The process.
yeah, I really worked very hard, but somehow it overtook my conscience. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the issues. It affected my reputation. Association, my association with people. It affected so much. Even back in my community, even it affected my faith. Yeah. So those are the issues, but there are benefits, of course. Yeah, if I may share, there are benefits which after my rehabilitation now, I'm functional. I am, resourceful. I went back to to train in specialize in clinical addiction and treatment. Yeah, and I was able to to train further in addiction issues with the NACADA, and I'm an ambassador NACADA, and also I'm able to counsel people. I'm taking a lot of cases, from students from university, working classes, family life, and I've seen people come out of addiction. Yeah, and because of I'm now resourceful.
And another benefit, you're not now asking for your client if they have something.
Yes, yeah, and
Your clients are safe.
I'm able. I'm functional.
Self-management.
Self-managed. Yeah, and I've been recruited even to board of management schools. You see, those are the things that you would not really be placed, and even in the county level. I sit in,
And the Bible says,
yes,
all things work together for good.
yeah, for good.
Yeah.
And I really thank God for all this, and I'm managing my life. Yeah, that is
And you're-
also a benefit.
And you're
Now
here.
managing my life, and
You're here today.
and we are here today.
Thank you. So another issue, maybe as we just want to do a close-up of the show before I let in Reverend and Janet, is one last question to you, Mr. Rotich. What was your turning point? What was your turning point? I know you mentioned the year and the person you looked to, but what really made you now to make up your mind?
Yeah, my turning point was this. It was the year 2008, I think December. This is the time I had drunk myself for 4 days consecutively. I had not eaten. That was the time I was saying I was drinking to die, but I didn't die. So I had not eaten because there was no place I could even eat, because I had lost relationship with my relatives and so forth. And even, I would not even come home early, when supper is served or even tea or so forth. So I was alone. So this was a time I had not eaten, and I was drinking myself hell for 4 days consecutively.
No water, no food, just alcohol.
Alcohol. It was plain alcohol. And I found myself, I've slept in the 5th day. I was not able to, I had no energy even to wake myself up, even to pull myself to open the door. And in fact, those time, the door, the kind of house I was housing myself in was like, a cow shit, because I had no house anyway. And it happened that I shouted. I had somebody, moving around that compound, and I shouted. I asked them, bring me water. And fortunately enough, it was one of my, relatives. And they overheard me. And this around 11 in the morning. And they brought me water, 5 liters. I drank literally the 5 liters. 5 liters. And I was dying. And that is the time I asked. Even I remember that time my brother, came home for Christmas, and he would see an emaciated, human being dying, and I asked him to help me out of this, because really I said, because I am dying, I don't want to die. I want to have another life. And that is the time I was assisted, and I was brought in a week's time. I was brought in and admitted at Homa Bay Rehabilitation. That is January 2009. And that was my turning point, because really I had suffered. I was in pain. It was awkward situation. I could not see, the reason why. And it came into my mind that, there is that God. And I remember, seeing the cross, or making the sign of the cross, not physically, but by words, because I was really dying. That was the time, I saw the need to change, to come out of it, to be helped. In fact,
that is the time.
Yeah, I wanted to be helped, because I could not come out of that situation.
I like
so
the
far.
words, another life.
Yes,
another life. So, Janet, as we are closing this show, I know I'll give Mr. Rotich some few minutes just to speak about what he's doing currently. What are your closing remarks after hearing all this? What are some of the things that we'll take out or we go home with?
I think I would say that as a society, we need now to understand this addiction, drug addiction, at another level, that it's a disease. So if you have people around you who are addicted, you have to see them as patients. And number 2, to any person who's trying to come out of addiction, healing and the journey to resurrect comes from you. Ultimately, you are the one who will help yourself. It's a decision that you make. Of course, after so much, you are the one who will eventually get off that chair.
Thank you, Reverend Allan.
Wow. I would say for number 1, those people who are addicted, to some level they are not responsible of what they are doing, and therefore we should not every time tell them it's up to you to make decisions, because they are no longer responsible. They have lost it. They are being driven by a substance that does not have brains. So they are using the brains of alcohol or the brains of that drug. So they are not responsible. They can kill, they can rape, they can do bestiality, all those funny things that we hear drunkards are doing, because they are not responsible. So I would say actually those who love them must try to take responsibility over them. They respect their right, but we try to take responsibility over them. Number 2, I would also say, as you are on the gates of getting into addiction, hear what my friend is saying here and begin to do a reverse as before it gets to that level. Seek for help. there is always help. Even if you are in alcoholism, whatever level, there is always some help somewhere. And then let us keep on praying for them. Let us keep on praying for them so that God can also help them, because God is our present help in times of need. For the families that are suffering of the same, keep on praying, keep on trusting. Something good will happen.
Thank you. So, Mr. Rotich, I just want to give you an opportunity to tell us where people can find you, and maybe share your contacts, because I know many people out there would really want to help a brother, help a husband, help a sister, help a son or a daughter or a colleague. So I'll give you this opportunity, just as you've said, you do therapy, family therapy, and those activities. I just want to give you 1 minute or so to give yourself officially how people can contact you and how people can reach and find help.
Yeah. Let me take this opportunity to thank Jesus Ministries for this, very noble partnership in coming out to share, to the world that addiction is a disease and there is a way out. All is not lost. And presently, I'm in Kericho County. I'm Ambassador of NACADA, and I do an outpatient program. I'll share my contact so that we can, if you have an issue, you have someone to refer, you may be able to contact me using 0712 798 886. 0712 798 886. You'll get me, and I'll be able, to reach out. And one last, information to the public, that alcoholism is a disease. Yes, an alcoholic is sick. What they need is love. Let us show them love. Let us accept them the way they are. And, they will be in a position even to share to us, and we will be able to redirect and direct them to the necessary help they need in life. So it works for everyone. Rehabilitation and counseling works for any addiction, and it is working. We have seen people coming out of this, and we thank God, and we ask all the institutions, especially the churches, to partner in this program. And because the church is alive to the issues in the community, and we ask, let us partner all together with the county government of Kericho. Let's partner with the churches and bring home hope and sanity to the lives of the suffering alcoholics and drug addicts in their lives, so that we have development both spiritually, economically, and even socially in our lives for the community. And I say thank you. God bless you.
Wow, interesting, real, and very raw. We take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you, Rev Allan. Our guest today, Mr. William Rotich. Thank you so much for sparing your time with us and sharing with us. It is from us to you. I've been your moderator, Vivian Kibeu. It is Conversations with Rev Allan. Kindly follow us on our YouTube page, Facebook page. God bless you. See you.